Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Nicole and I'm so excited to be back on YouTube. I took a little bit of a hiatus, but I am back and I'm super excited to share my life updates with you guys. I'm so excited for this one. We are building my childhood home in The Sims, and I actually think it came out really good. It actually was a super fun build to make because it let me reminisce a little bit about my childhood home. I thought it would be a fun way for me to kind of reintroduce myself to YouTube. So I chose the lot in Willow Creek, back in the corner of the world. What I liked about it was that it kind of reminded me of my childhood home because we had like a little river right behind the house. And there's like a little river kind of off to the side of this lot. So I thought it was a perfect spot for this childhood home build of mine. I ended up needing to bulldoze once or twice because I really wanted it to be accurate to the layout of the floor plan. And that's hard to do in The Sims. The scaling doesn't work the same as it does in real life, but I think I did a pretty good job with making it as accurate as possible. So as I said, I do have quite a few updates for you guys. Now, I know it's been like a little over a year since I've posted on YouTube, and I also used to stream on Twitch, which I'm super excited to get back into as well. So I'll link my Twitch channel down below. I don't quite have the schedule worked out, but I do plan to go live again, and I hope you guys can join me. But back to the life updates. So a year ago, life got pretty busy for me. Some of you may not know, but as much as I love streaming and making videos for YouTube, it's not my full-time job. I do have a regular 9-to-5, and it just got so super busy, and there just wasn't enough time in the day to do everything that I wanted to do and accomplish. Unfortunately for me, because I don't stream full-time or make YouTube videos full-time, YouTube is what had to kind of go to the wayside. But I'm so excited to be back on and be able to share my content with you guys. While all of that was happening, I ended up getting pregnant. Yes, my husband and I had a little baby boy in January of 2023. So of course, that was a huge lifestyle change for us and a lot of adjustments that needed to be made. I wasn't able to post during my pregnancy, but there's so much that I wanted to talk to you about, and I relied on YouTube a lot during my pregnancy just to help educate me and give me a place where I feel like I could find people that were going through the same thing that I was going through. And I know it's a little late now, and of course this is supposed to be about The Sims, but I wanted to share with you a little bit of my experience while the speed build is going in the background. Now, not to share too many details about my health and my personal life, but being a mom was something that I always wanted from childhood. So when I found out that I was pregnant, it was super exciting for us. It's our first child together. Like I said, I know this is supposed to be about The Sims, but I feel like I wanted to open up about this and share my story. When I talk about the health issues that I might have had, like I said, I'm not going to go too far into detail, but I did want to share that it's so important to go to the doctor. It's so important to get your blood work done, because if it weren't for that, I don't think I would have been able to get pregnant. I had some health issues that were keeping me from getting pregnant. Once those things were straightened out, I was able to get pregnant pretty quickly. So, not saying that that's everyone's situation, but definitely if it's something that you're interested in doing, make sure that you're all caught up with the doctor, make sure that your blood work is all caught up, and that you're being treated for anything that you may have going on so that your body is completely healthy for that baby. It's so important to be healthy when you're carrying a child, and through my experience, I was able to find out just how important that is. So real quick, just to get back into the game and then I'll pop back into life updates. We're in the living room. I really tried to capture this little figurines unit that my mom had in the house. It was a glass unit that had little figurines that she used to collect. And there's nothing like that in The Sims. There's nothing that I felt was giving me what I was looking for. So I ended up creating it myself out of a wall mirror, 2 cabinets, and those glass shelves. And then I was able to slot whatever I wanted to it. by minimizing the size and just letting it slot right in there. It ended up working out perfectly, and I think that it came out really, really nice. I also tried to capture the pictures on the wall. I didn't want to put any personal photos in, so I just used some of the pictures that The Sims already has in the game. But my mom used to have a picture of my grandfather and my grandmother in the living room in the corner of the wall. So I put the two pictures that kind of look like they are older pictures, and I put them in the corners of the room just like my mom would have my grandma and grandpa. I also realized in making this build that we don't have just a regular broom. We have the broom with the dustpan attached, but the game doesn't have just a regular broom that you can either put in the corner or put on the wall. It's always attached to something else. I was happy to find that there was an ironing board that was all by itself, so I was able to put that in the closet like my mom used to have it. Like I said earlier, I tried to really make this build as accurate as possible, while also kind of feeling like I was combining my memories of my mom's home with how I remember it when she moved out when I was an adult. So the inspiration for this build actually comes from real life experience because yes, this is my childhood home, right? Obviously. Right now, as this is being posted, this house no longer is in our family. And I felt like I wanted to have one last connection with this house and something that I can kind of keep forever. So that's why I decided to make this build and make it as accurate as possible so that myself, my mom, my sister, and my brother will always have this video that I think reflects our home and the house that my mom owned and we grew up in to the best that I can make it. I actually love the way that the downstairs bathroom and the kitchen came out. I think it looks just like it. I did have a hard time trying to find a table that I felt fit what my mom used to have. And to be honest, the one that I used isn't exactly what she used to have, but it's a close replica. Believe it or not, I thought that this was going to be a quick build for me because it's from memory, right? So it is some place that I've been almost my whole life, and I thought it would be easy to build this from my memory, but actually it was pretty difficult because I felt like I really wanted it to be perfect. I really wanted it to reflect exactly what the house look like, and that's hard to do in The Sims. Usually when you're building just for fun and there is no reference, you can kind of make it whatever you want. But in this case, I wanted it to be super accurate, and sometimes that was pretty difficult to accomplish. In the kitchen, my mom had this Keurig, and it was a red Keurig. So when I built the kitchen, I had to have that staple red Keurig in the corner. Now, of course, The Sims wouldn't let me put that in the corner. I wasn't able to stick it where it was in my mom's kitchen, so I ended up having to put it on a separate counter. But at least I was able to have my staple red Keurig because it was a white kitchen with a staple red Keurig. I had to have it. When it came to the curtains for any of the rooms, I really just went with what I felt looked best. I tried to get as close to what it actually was as possible, but of course that's difficult because as much as I grew up in this house, I don't remember what the curtains look like. Did you? So I feel like I did the best I could when it came to the curtains. My mom might watch this video and say, my curtains didn't look like that. But sorry, Mom, I tried. So now I'm moving on to my mom's bedroom. You may be looking at this and say, purple walls? Did she actually have purple walls? But yes, she had lavender walls in her room, and it actually was super cute. So I wanted to replicate that as best as possible. I really am proud of this build, and I'm proud of each room because I feel like it really reflects exactly what it looked like. I was watching this build back with my husband, and we both were like, oh my goodness, look at that and look at this. Like, it really looks just like how the house was when we left it. I have to laugh because my mom always had a calendar in the corner in her bedroom right behind the door and had her purses hanging right behind the door. So I had to hang those little purses right there behind her door because I just felt like it fit perfectly and it matched exactly what the house was like. Like I said, for me, this was super reminiscent And I loved making this build. It made me laugh and smile and helped me think of memories like that time that I broke the dining table because I fell through it when my brother and I were horsing around. So I just felt like it gave me those opportunities to really think about my childhood and remember different things that we used to do in the house. I even put some board games on the coffee table in the living room because that's where we used to always play our board games. Now back to more life updates. So as of now, like I said, my mom is not in this house anymore. She's actually going to be moving to Florida, and that's something else I kind of wanted to talk about because it's going to be a change for me. I feel like having my mom around my whole life and being close is a privilege, and I know a lot of people don't always get that. So I wanted to just express that I'm excited for her. I'm happy that she is going to be moving to Florida and retiring soon and kind of going on being happy with her life. She has her home down there already and she's living her best life. She deserves it. But for me, it will be difficult. I think for my siblings and I, we're used to having her around. So it'll be hard, especially with my son. He will know her as a baby, but it will be hard for him to really spend any quality time with her because she's going to be so far away. In case you don't know, I'm in New Jersey, so Florida and New Jersey are not quite close. Therefore, we're going to have to be making frequent trips to Florida. So now that I'm done with my mom's room, I moved on to my sister's room. Now, funny thing about my sister's room, as I started to build it, I realized I have no idea what her room looked like. I had no idea. I'm like, oh my gosh, what did my sister's room look like? I don't remember what she had on the walls. I don't remember where her dressers were. It was so funny to try to recreate this room because I was pretty much doing it just off the cuff. I know she had a bookshelf kind of in the corner. I know where her closet was and sort of where her bed was, but all in all, I had no idea how my sister's room looked. I just did it based on the few things I could remember and pulled the rest of it together. She's gonna laugh when she watches this, but it's probably not an accurate representation of her room. I kind of styled it like it was a teenager's room because, again, that's just kind of how I see my younger sister. She's 7 years younger than me, so she's kind of always going to be the little baby in the family. So I kind of put things that I felt would be teen-like. Also, she didn't have a rug in the room, so I just threw that in there because I thought it looked nice. But that's one of those times that, like I said, I just kind of improvised. So by the front door, we always had the vacuum, and if we had something for the umbrellas, I'm pretty sure it would have gone there too. So moving up to the upstairs was actually super cool for me because obviously this was my bedroom and my brother's bedroom. I remember I had a canopy bed and there was nothing in The Sims that I felt really reflected the kind of bed I had. So I just went with this bed that had like the tall poles on the end. And for my brother's bed, he didn't have a headboard, but I just kind of stuck something in the corner. I remember his bed being kind of flat, so I just tried to find something that looked sort of flat to me. It was also super weird as I was building this because it made me realize that the layout probably wasn't ideal. I realized that I used to have the TV in front of my dresser. And in The Sims, that's actually probably not a good idea because The Sims probably can't get to the dresser. I had fun trying to find different things to put on the dressers in my room and in my brother's room. I used to love to collect stuffed animals, so I put a couple of stuffed animals on top of my dresser. I put some headphones on my brother's dresser with a backpack and some sports stuff on the floor. I tried to really capture each one of our personalities in our rooms. Now, of course, I got distracted, so I ended up popping outside and putting out a swing set and some monkey bars. It wasn't exactly laid out like this in our backyard, but I knew we had one, so I wanted to put one out there. As much as I like this lot, there's one thing that I wish that it captured more accurately, and that was the backyard. We had a really large backyard, and I didn't feel like there was a lot in The Sims that really reflected the length of the backyard. So this served the purpose, but it wasn't completely accurate to the backyard. So in the back, we had this patio, and I wasn't sure how in The Sims to recreate that patio, but I actually think it turned out pretty accurate. The only thing that I couldn't accomplish in the game was putting spandrels along the top of that roof piece that goes over the top of the patio. Because there are no walls there, it wouldn't let me put any spandrels. My mom also took pride in her garden in the front and backyard, so I wanted to make sure that I captured the garden as best as possible. She had these stone pieces that aligned the garden, and I didn't want to use small walls because I didn't feel like it accurately captured the stone look that my mom had. So I decided to size down these little stone pieces. I don't even really remember what they're called, but I decided to size them down and line them up individually to give that stone look around her gardens. Once I was done putting some landscaping outside, like some trees and the stones around the garden, I went back upstairs because I realized I forgot to do the bathroom upstairs. So I pretty much just copy and pasted everything that was downstairs, upstairs in the bathroom. It was pretty accurate that everything was kind of the same. I did go back through and try to add a few more decorative pieces to my room and my brother's room. I also added the little scouts board. I added that scouts board because my brother was in ROTC in high school, and I kind of felt like the scouts board reminded me of that a little bit. It reminded me of him getting badges and wearing his uniform. So I thought it was a cool little touch from the game to kind of equate to a memory. Once I was done upstairs, I went down into the basement. Yes, there is a basement. I felt like I did a really good job with the basement too. Like I said, I kind of can't say it enough, but I'm super proud of this build. So I hope that you guys are enjoying this, and I really hope that when my mom and my family look at it, they kind of smile too, because I really feel like this came out great. But anyway, so the basement. As you can see, there are these racks along the wall. Now, that is accurate, but the racks were not just clothes. My sister and I grew up competing in pageants, and so the racks were full of our pageant gowns. And yes, we had a lot of them. So I felt like I needed to accurately capture all of those pageant gowns. So the inside walls were all brown. So I decided to go with like a regular brown paneling in the basement. And then we had the washer and dryer down there. There was a little utility sink in the corner, and we also had 2 extra fridges down there. There was a regular refrigerator and then a deep freezer. So I put 2 fridges down there. Now, of course, we don't have any deep freezers in the game, but I used a mini fridge because it was just as small and I thought it would serve the purpose. So one side was the washer and dryer, and the other side I decided to make into a little living space. In my adulthood, the living space side wasn't actually a living space. It was just a storage area, really. As a child, it was a little living room area. So I decided to use that memory. I don't really remember what it looked like down there when it was a living room area, so I just decided to make it up. I picked a couch that I thought looked nice. I know that we had a little shelving unit down there, and I think there was a TV that used to go in the center of it. So I kind of went with that look and a rug. And then one thing that I really wanted to add to this build, so I decided to squeeze it into the basement, was a record player. It's that new record player from one of the more recent packs, and it was actually in the living room growing up, but there was no space in the living room in the build to put that record player, so I decided to put it in the basement. My dad was a DJ, and all of his old records lived in the basement, so I felt like putting the record player down there would still kind of give an omen to his records that he kept down there, and an omen to the record player that we used to have in the living room. We also had a bar downstairs, although I never used it. But to hear her say it, they threw some good parties down there, so I had to put the bar down there. So now I'm just adding some finishing touches to the outside. She had some lamps outside, and you may be thinking, she forgot the garage. I didn't forget the garage. I just cut that part out. I didn't really put a lot in the garage. So now I'm going to open up the game and we'll take a tour of the whole build. Okay, so like I said, I did build this in Willow Creek. Okay, so this is the final product. Like I said, I am very proud of this one. Like I said, at the end, I did go ahead and put like some trash cans in the driveway, and there's that little river there that I was telling you guys about. So here is the full layout of the first floor. When you walk in, there is this little foyer area. There was this infamous green rug. You'll see the little unit there. You'll see I put in a little gaming system because we used to have the Wii. And I put some glasses because in every room, my mom had a pair of glasses. So I didn't remember to do it in every room, but I did remember to put it in this one. And let's just pretend that in every single room, there's a pair of glasses. These are those pictures that I was talking to you about of my grandfather and my grandmother that were there in the living room. So like I said, this is the living room. There are the board games that I was telling you about. When you come down this hallway, she always had the broom and dustpan right here in this corner. And this is what I was saying about how it only having one that connects to each other, because it wasn't like this in the house, but this is the only thing I could find that was close replica. So I just use this. A little hallway closet right here. And then if you go this way into the kitchen, this was our kitchen. And again, just looking back at this, it seems like it's so real. We had our back door right here leading out to the patio. And she always had this little fan above the stove. Then from there, we go into the bathroom. And yes, the bathroom was actually pink. I actually think this also came out really cool. Thing really special to see here, but I think it was an accurate replica. So in the hall, I put the fire alarm. We used to have it on the ceiling, but obviously I can't do that in The Sims, so I just put it here in the hallway. If you go to the left, you'll enter my mom's bedroom. She had these little butterflies on the wall. Her butterflies were actually black, but we don't have black butterflies in the game, so I just used the colorful ones. Then across the hall is my sister's room that I was telling you all about. Again, not sure it completely is accurate, but close enough. And then if you go back through the living room and up the stairs, here is my brother in my room. So to the left was my bedroom, and I love that I was able to put these little bump outs and get our desks in there like we used to have them. And then also on my brother's side, this is that little scout board I was telling you about that reminded me of his ROTC. And I know it's clipping right there, super annoying, trust me, I know. That's because of me stacking the two units down here, and it makes it clip through the floor, which is super annoying. But I like the way that that little unit came out, so I wasn't willing to change it. And then inside the bathroom, I actually did forget when I finished recording the build, I did forget to put a rug in the bathroom, so I put it in there now. So then if you go back downstairs into the basement, this is the finished basement. We had our washer and dryer over here, all of those gown racks I was telling you about, and then our two fridges, the main fridge and then the deep freezer. There was a door entering this way, and we have our bar set up with the little living area down here. So going back upstairs and outside, I just want to show you the backyard real quick. So we have the back patio area that I was telling you about here. And like I said, I think I did a really good job replicating it to the best of my ability. It was on a little platform, but I can't do that in The Sims. So I just left it flat, and then I decided to make these black, even though I don't think they were black in real life. And then here is the garden that my mom used to have in the backyard. And we had lots of trees back there. And then we also have the garden in the front. And that is the entire finished build of my childhood home. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button. If you like this kind of content and you want to see more of it, hit that subscribe button. Like I said, I'm super excited to be back on YouTube. I have a lot of videos planned, and I plan to post once a week. So stay tuned. If you want to see more speed builds like this, I'll put one of my old speed builds on the end card. I also plan on doing some Let's Plays and some fun playthroughs, so make sure you come by for those too. Thank you for coming to my YouTube channel. See you next week.